Nope, one more step. Here we go. Agaya and Ubuntu. Welcome, friends, to this Novasutras gathering at the time of the cross quarter. Please bear with me as I make sure that the technology is behaving itself. Looks good there. Okay. Great. So we are on. Thank you for being here today. Trying a new possibility for having our gatherings online. So I'm gonna just, again, kind of working with all of the various things we have here. Seeing who's on right now. Looks like just me. And that's all right. I'm inviting you to share in the chat if you can, where on our beautiful planet we are as you come on. For those who are watching this as a recording, thank you for being here, and glad to be able to share this content. So the basic outline for today, I'll do a little presentation here, and then be offering a space for conversation on Zoom. So I will share that Zoom information toward the end if it looks like we have anybody on our live stream who might be wanting to go over there. You can also find it on the Novasutras website. Thank you for joining today. And for many of us, I can say happy Halloween. So Halloween is a really interesting tradition in much of the Western world, the post-colonial, previously colonizing and colonized world. It's a tradition that is founded in a much more ancient and worldwide tradition of cross-quarter celebrations. And because this originated in Europe, the October-November cross-quarter that happens around this time of year, that is the middle of the season, right between the equinox and the solstice. This time is the middle of autumn in Europe and the rest of the Northern Hemisphere. And therefore, in temperate climates, this is a time of going into deeper darkness in the year, a time when many plants, especially deciduous trees, go into a kind of hibernation that looks like death as they lose their leaves and let go of the work of capturing sunlight and carbon for the year, and pause. This is a risky time for vulnerable people who are dependent on seasonal cycles of food production, as in many places around the world, the transition into the depths of autumn and winter are a time when much less food is available, though this is certainly not everywhere. And for agricultural peoples, the harvest has just finished. The fields are now standing dead, but the food that was harvested is filling the silos. So we find that there are a lot of traditions associated with the autumn cross quarter that seem to specifically have something to do with the idea of death. The autumn cross quarter is celebrated in different ways in diverse traditions. It's connected with Halloween, with the Celtic and then Wiccan practice of Samhain, and with the Day of the Dead on November 1st. These traditions allow us to consider our responses to death and to remember those who have died. Also, this is often around the time of Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. And we find that candles and lights also play an important role, as does the acknowledgement of darkness. But I'd like to take us first into this idea of processing death. And to begin, I want to share one way to consider death, to think about death as a break in a pattern. From the system's perspective, we are patterns in the flow of energy and matter that maintain our integrity, like a whirlpool or a candle flame, identifiable and yet ever-changing and only recognizable because of this pattern of flow and energy and matter, of energy and matter. And yet we do recognize ourselves as individuals. So we tell ourselves that we are the same persistent being from one day to the next. The science tells us this is a lie. Your cells are constantly exchanging matter and energy that has come in from outside and will leave again. The cells of your body frequently die and are replaced by new cells, and yet you appear to remain you. But like a whirlpool or a flame, you're only recognizable as a unique entity because of the pattern you hold for just a brief time. The question really is, what happens when that pattern finally breaks down? We are not just matter, not even just energy in the limited sense. We are also information. We are a way of being that is unique. The truth is, no one has certainty about what happens when that pattern, that way of being, breaks down. We can choose to let this be a source of comfort in the face of death. That uncertainty leaves us open to any and all possibilities. We do not know, and therefore we can choose to imagine or choose to believe what feels right. Until we have specific evidence, there's no reason to dismiss virtually any possibility. We can also take great comfort in our community and in the love that surrounds us. We know that our love does not stop for those who have passed before us. We can know that the love for us will not stop and will be carried by those who live on after us. Ideally, we know that we have shared those crucial bits of information that have given our lives meaning, and that part of our unique pattern continues on after us. John Muir said, "Let the children walk with nature. Let them see the beautiful blendings and communions of death and life." And they will learn that death is stingless indeed and as beautiful as life. So, what can we do to honor that transition in a beautiful way? All human cultures, and even apparently some non-human ones like elephants and chimpanzees, have behaviors, or in humans, funeral practices, to acknowledge and deal with the time of death and the loss of loved ones. These practices vary widely, and most involve rituals and other choices for tending to the body of the deceased. We may choose, to the best of our ability, to continue abiding in Agaya, living in a way that acknowledges our deep connection and reverence for the living world, existing in that way even after our passing. All things die, and the bodies of almost everything that has ever lived has somehow been returned to nature, their constituents eventually cycling through countless other living beings. We know that care must be taken to ensure the well-being of our community in respect to Ubuntu, to that acknowledgement of the fabric that weaves our community together. So things that risk spreading illness to others must be discouraged. But there are options that maintain health for the living while allowing the dead to return to the embrace of Agaya, doing as little harm as possible through that process. Many new options for green burials are available in various ways and places. Conversations about how to treat one's body once one has died can be difficult to have, especially when death is imminent or has already occurred. But now, in these days of the dead, may be a good time to talk with your beloved community about these choices. A wonderful group has produced a program, a guideline called Death Over Dinner that helps you to have these conversations. Beyond the funeral and in the years that follow, many cultures have times of the year where they pause to remember and celebrate beloved ancestors, to celebrate those who have died. The people celebrated may include not only close relatives and friends, but also those who have inspired us, who have shared their information patterns and influenced ours in some way. I encourage you to consider some of the ways that you might celebrate or honor beloved ancestors, whether said ancestors have influenced your way of being through biological kinship or through inspiration. And what are ways that we can do this that are in better keeping with Agaya and Ubuntu? We know that many of the practices that have become commonplace for Halloween in places like North America are tremendously environmentally destructive. There's in the current American celebration of Halloween, just unbelievable amounts of plastic. That we are consuming fossil fuels and creating disposable costumes and masks out of plastic by the hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of individually wrapped pieces of unhealthy, sugary candy are handed out this night. You might be getting ready to do that right now. And if you have some guilt around that, that's okay. Carry on with what you have right now. But try to think about how you can do better next time. Make some plans. Can the costumes that you and your children wear instead be repurposed clothing or handmade, or something that's reusable year to year? Can be passed on to others. Can you offer some Halloween treat that is not wrapped in plastic? A lot of the fear that has been induced around safety for children in Halloween has led to this epidemic of plastic wrap. Can you make a deal with friends and neighbors to trust one another and offer goodies of whatever kind that are unwrapped? As we move on from Halloween, we move deeper into the time of the cross quarter. This coming cross quarter is a very special one for Novasutras. It is our 5th anniversary as an organization, about 5 years since the website was launched in early November of 2017. So I'll be offering an online celebration that day. The platform I'll be using is where I offer guided meditations on Insight Timer. So we'll be doing a guided meditation, but also some practices there that are a little bit interactive. We do have at least the chat interface on Insight Timer to use. So you can find out about that by going to novasutras.org/events and looking for the mid-season full moon lunar eclipse cross-quarter celebration. For the mid-season cross-quarter, we'll be sending out wishes for joyous transformation around the world. Our gratitude will help reconnect us with nature's beauty, joy, and wonder. We'll consider how we can welcome all our relations into better futures and what our intentions are for the next turning of our dance around the sun. The timing of this cross quarter is only a day before a lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipses always happen at the full moon when the earth is aligned between the moon and the sun. So our celebration is at the midpoint between that and the precise moment of the cross quarter, which is itself the midpoint between the solstice and the equinox, when the sun is overhead at 16 degrees, 20 minutes south latitude. The actual time of the cross quarter, then, that can, be confirmed to the precise minute based on that latitude, is November 7th at 2:36 in the morning, 2:36 a.m. Pacific, or 10:36 UTC. So rather than celebrating then, we're going to celebrate kind of at the midpoint between the lunar eclipse and the following day and the cross quarter early that morning. So we'll be celebrating on November 7th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So that's because of the time change, close to what time it is now. But if you're going to have a time change also, it will be an hour earlier. So that's 2 p.m. Pacific or 2200 UTC. Find the link to our Insight Timer Live at novasutras.org/events. I'll be offering a 90-minute talk that will include a guided meditation, what we call our octal meditations, sending out wishes that all beings might abide in Agaya and Ubuntu. We'll also take some time for what we call spicy blessings and some other festivities honoring this time of transition and transformation. So again, about 12 hours after the precise moment of the cross quarter and about 12 hours before the precise moments of the lunar eclipse and the full moon. If you check us out online, you'll see some suggestions for planning your own celebration for the cross quarter. And of course, participating in our octal celebrations is a great way to learn more about Novasutras. So if you're familiar with Novasutras, invite some friends. If you're not, come along and invite some friends anyway to check it out together and see how you feel about it. So we have these celebrations, including, when we can, a synchronous global meditation at these 8 points of the year, our octal celebrations at the solstices, when the sun is either the farthest north or the farthest south from an earthly perspective, at the equinoxes, when the sun crosses the equator, and at these 4 other points, the cross quarters, that are the midpoints between the equinoxes and the solstices in Earth's orbit around the sun. And in Novasutras, we define that by the time when the sun is crossing that 16-degree, 20-minute latitude point. So we celebrate these because they're global phenomena. They're about the interaction of our home planet and our sun. And I'm going to share screen for a moment and show you a little bit what that might look like. This is one illustration from the wonderful folks who contribute to Wikipedia and Wikimedia Commons. And you can see that the solstices feel different on the north and south hemisphere because you're either moving into the time where you're going to see more of the sun or less of the sun. The equinoxes, it's about even all around the world. So this midpoint between the September equinox and the December solstice is winter in the northern hemisphere where I am. But of course, it's mid-spring in the southern hemisphere where some of our participants are. So we try to cultivate celebrations that are really global to help us remember that we are all earthlings together. It's an experience that can be shared with everyone, with every being on Earth. And we find at all 8 points of these year, the solstices, the equinoxes, and the cross quarters, there are many religious and folk traditions from all around the world that include celebrations, the grand octal or the seasonal cusps. Archaeological sites are often aligned to the location of the sun at specific times on these days. In Novasutras, we try to offer our online octal celebrations to coincide with the astronomical timing of the event. But since it's mostly me hosting still, and I'm in California, sometimes I make adjustments so as to not do it in the middle of the night. We've been experimenting. We had done these just as YouTube live streams for a while, and then we started shifting to Zoom, offered them as interactive sessions on Zoom for a while. But now I find the largest audiences are coming by offering them on Insight Timer. So I will put the link to the Insight Timer event, if this works, into the chat. I don't know if it will let me put URLs into the chat. I think it let me do it, so that's good. Oh, and I see that Carol has joined us at some point and is listening in. Wonderful to have you here. Thanks for joining. So one of the practices that we'll do on November 7th, so about a week from today, is a consideration of where the sun is at that point, where the sun is at the precise moment of the cross quarter. And we'll use that point on the globe as a place to focus our energy for a Gaia and Ubuntu into the world. As part of the guided meditation. And this is just an incredibly meaningful way to feel really connected with a community of meditators who care about Earth, who care about our global community, and who hold a belief for a better future where all of us can thrive together. So I hope that you will join us for our cross-quarter celebration. Again, if you're watching this online, you can, if you're watching this, of course you're watching it online. If you're watching this as a recording, you can go to the Novasutras website and especially on our events page, learn more about it. And I realize I'm still sharing the screen, so I should probably stop that. Okay. So what I would like to do now is just offer a brief guided meditation more on this theme of the transitions, the move into darkness, and the idea of death. So I'm inviting you now to get yourself settled in and comfortable, and we'll just do about a 10-minute guided meditation. So drop in and relax. Start to feel your weight settle down toward the earth beneath you. Letting your shoulders drop away from your ears. Or if you're lying down, really lying back. Letting your weight settle and be held as if the earth is gently cradling you. And feel what that's like to rest and be still and be embraced by Mother Earth. And if you'd like to, imagine what it would feel like to have soil all around you and to be slowly releasing yourself into the soil so that the physicalness of what you are right now is being offered up to the continuation of life on earth. How would it feel to be reabsorbed into the vastness of Mother Earth, so that the molecules of you participate in the ever unfolding dance of life on earth? But as you rest here in stillness, notice your living breath. Notice the parts of you that move as you take air in and as you release your spent breath. Breathing in and breathing out. With each exhale, you are losing part of what you were an instant ago and releasing it back into the air so that it can be taken up by the living green things that grow all around us. Every exhale, gifting some carbon that used to be part of you to the trees, the grasses, the seaweeds, the ferns and mosses, the flowers and fruits. Every breath, pieces of you being let go. Those pieces that no longer serve your thriving move out to serve the thriving of other beings. So your every breath can be an offering of compassion, of dedication to the ongoing unfolding of thriving life on earth. Let go and offer the gifts of Ubuntu as you exhale. And then gently let breath back in and receive all of the beauty and wonder of Gaia in that gift of oxygen from those same plant kin. Receive each in-breath as a thank you from some tree that will grow for centuries, holding a little carbon that is a part of you in its wood. The patterns that we are not permanent. But life on this beautiful planet has endured for at least 3.8 billion years. Can we not now dedicate ourselves to passing from this life in a way that will promote the thriving of life for 3.8 billion years or more into the future? Can we not recognize that we are in the middle of a story, a chain between all of those beloved ancestors and ancient beings that came before us, and all the beings, human and more than human, who are yet to come, and living here in the middle of the story, dedicate ourselves to the unfolding of a story of joy and beauty and wonder for all beings. Let that dedication fill your heart. Feel it pumping through your arteries up to the crown of your head. Feel it moving in and out of your lungs. Feel it moving from your shoulders out along your arms to the tips of your fingers. Feel it moving down through your organs, down into your hips and legs, your feet and toes. That dedication, devotion, and love for the world moving through you, offering you the gift of life right now. And in that joy of living, start to wiggle those toes and fingers, appreciating their vitality. Bring a little movement into the hands with which you help to shape the future, into the feet that take you the places where you might do the most good. Bringing motion into the ankles and wrists, the arms and legs, the hips and shoulders, the spine and neck, and bringing your energy back up into your head, And when you're ready, gently open your eyes if they've been closed. Bring your focus back to where you are and notice the living beauty around you. And offer some appreciation for the graceful dance of life and death that creates such beauty in the world. Thank you for participating in this live stream. It looks like so far in the chat, I've just seen Carol. And let me see if I can see if there are others here. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, Carol, if you want to join me on Zoom for a bit, it looks like that link is present in the chat here, and you should be able to just click on that. If that doesn't work, go to novasutras.org/events, which I will type into chat for you as well. And follow the link there. Follow the links there to find the link for the Zoom discussion of this event. So I'll keep that Zoom open. It should put you into the waiting room, and that will be open for a little bit. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to our ongoing conversation. I'm going to end the live stream and keep Zoom open, so we will see you there if you can join us there.